Hello everyone, welcome to the When at Work podcast. You're with your host Julian Lee. Tonight joined by the fantastic Danielle Lopez and Elizabeth Gould. Welcome to the show. Wonderful guests.
Thank you, Julian. Thanks for having me.
All right, bit of applause to start things off. Let's get the music on, and we're going to play Jeopardy. The categories today are unique customs, presidential middle names, science, the Bible, World War II trivia, and North. Anything with North in it. Danielle, you can kick things off, being in the hot seat. What category would you like?
Okay, let's go with science for 200, please.
Science for 200. Most living organisms have millions, but a prisoner only has one.
What is cells?
Wow, you got that straight away. I had no idea. And then I heard it. I went, of course it is. Well done, Danielle. Great job. What would you like? You're in control.
All right, let's go science for 400, please.
Science for 400. A 5th century BC Greek philosopher was first to theorize that all matter is made of these.
What is atoms?
Atoms. Somebody did at least high school physics or something. Not me. All right, Danielle, doing very well. What would you like? Science.
Let's go science for 600, please.
Term for creatures like vultures or hermit crabs that eat carcasses and refuse. What is the term for those types of creatures that eat dead bits?
I didn't know there was a specific term that wasn't a profanity.
Maybe I think I might know this one.
Is it parasite?
Good idea. Did you have any idea, Elizabeth Gould?
What are scavengers?
That's the word I was looking for.
Oh, very nice.
Scavenger. Well done. Elizabeth is on the board, and she just pinched 600 points. Elizabeth, what would you like?
Let's go for unique customs, so $200.
Yeah, let's get the heck out of science. Waving American style is an insult in this Hellenic country. If you're in Melbourne, you will have lots of friends from this country.
What is Greece?
Greece is correct. Well done, Elizabeth. Would you like to continue on unique customs?
Absolutely. For $400.
400. In the Netherlands, a hostess may serve herself first from custom of tasting food to prove it wasn't this. So the hostess often will be the first person to serve themselves to prove something.
What is poisoned food?
Poisoned food, isn't that unreal? I didn't know that. I have been to the Netherlands and I didn't keep an eye out on what the hostess was doing. What would you like, Elizabeth?
I'm going to stick with unique customs for 600.
Unique custom 600. Subcontinental country where young male platonic friends often hold hands in public.
Where is Italy?
Would you like to have a turn at this one, Danielle? Subcontinent is the key.
I don't know.
It is India. You'll see young 20-year-old men walking around holding hands, and you think you're at the Mardi Gras, but it's... Oh, I shouldn't say that. Yeah, they just do it because they're friends. How nice. I'm going to try that. No, I'm not. All right, you're in control still. Elizabeth Gould.
Oh, let's... That was a bit tricky, so let's go $200 for World War II trivia, please.
World War II trivia. With only 4 ships, this neighbour of Australia had the smallest navy. We've only really got one neighbour.
What is New Zealand?
New Zealand. It is correct. Oh, I'm so glad it wasn't Fiji or something, and I would have led you astray.
That did flash.
Yeah. Well, let's do a quick score check. Danielle on 600 and Elizabeth on 1200. Elizabeth in control still.
Let's go back to World War II for $400, please.
World War II. The US Navy had a ship whose sole purpose was to make this dessert. That's an odd one. What dessert did they make for the soldiers?
Navy had a ship. Oh, the US Navy had a ship.
I feel like they had puddings.
Well, I can think of a few puddings, but none that would make a naval ship name. Over to you, Danielle.
Maybe it's a famous American dessert that everybody loves in the old days. I don't know.
Well, I'm thinking
I'm going to
jello.
go with apple pie because American specialty. So
All right. So you don't have an answer, Danielle?
apple pie is mine.
Oh, sorry, I missed it. Forgive me. Apple pie and Jello. Let's take a look. It is ice cream. They would get a bit porky if they were eating ice cream.
Oh, wow.
All right, you're still in control, Elizabeth.
Let's go for North for $200.
North for 200. Farms and ranches cover 90% of this border state's land. Border state would mean, probably in the United States, being a Jeopardy question, farms and ranches cover 90% of this border state's land.
I'm trying to think of the northern states that would border Canada.
The real farmy ones. So when they must border Canada, is that what they're saying? Could it border Mexico?
No, that could border Mexico. I'm not sure 90%. Okay. Wild guess. This isn't the case. Puerto Rico.
Ah, interesting. Danielle Lopez, any idea? Just have a punt.
I'll go for Montana. Give it a go.
Oh, that sounds pretty farmy. Let's have a look. It's North Dakota.
Oh,
Yeah, probably next door to Montana. Is it?
it's close enough.
Close enough. All right, Elizabeth, still in control.
Oh, let's go for North again for $400.
North for 400. Though Catholicism is this English province's largest single denomination, it's a persecuted minority. Well, this is from the 80s, so things have changed a little.
English province. Oh, Northern Ireland.
Yeah, that's what I think. Let's take a look. Northern Ireland. Well done, Elizabeth Gould, doing very well. What have we got? 1,600 versus 600. Don't worry, Danielle Lopez. Plenty of time for you to catch up.
Take a break.
Get yourself a coffee and come back. All right, Elizabeth, you're in charge.
Let's go 600 for World War II trivia.
World War II trivia. 600 in 1942. Approaches to the Mississippi River were mined by this type of German vessel.
A U-boat.
Yeah, that's what I thought as well. Let's take a look. It is a U-boat or submarine. Well done, Elizabeth Gould. Doing very well. What would you like?
You can see I'm avoiding presidential middle names, Danielle, because I know you're going to crucify me on that one. So I'm going to go for the Bible.
They're pretty obscure. I don't think anyone, even from the States, will be able to answer them, except for one of them.
Let's go for the Bible for $200.
The Bible. In Exodus 3, it burned, but wouldn't burn up. Jump in if you've got it, Danielle. Can you remember Sunday school?
Is it a bush?
It is the burning bush. Well
The
done.
burning bush. Well done.
Danielle Lopez. Good Catholic girl.
Let's stick with the Bible for 400.
Bible for 400, nephew whom Abraham rescued in Genesis 14. He also needed rescuing from Sodom. Sodom, what do we call it? By Genesis 19. Nephew who Abraham rescued in Genesis 14. He also needed rescuing from Sodom by Genesis 19. So he's getting himself into a few scrapes. Who's this nephew?
I'll go. I don't know the answer. I'll go with Joseph.
Yeah, it's got to be one of them. What about you, Elizabeth?
Right.
Oh, well, I was going to, I'll pick my second guess. Let's say Isaac.
I'm going to go with the Big M. He was getting into a few adventures. Oh, it's Lot.
0%.
Wow. We don't even know who that is, but I think I've heard of him. All right, now, Danielle, I think, Danielle in control, I think, or Elizabeth?
Let's go with Danielle.
Meaning that Elizabeth is still in control.
Right.
Come on, Elizabeth.
I'm going to try my way back up. Let's try science for 800.
Science for 800. Days and nights are always 12 hours long there.
On Earth.
Earth?
On Earth?
All right,
Earth.
all right. I'll take that. Elizabeth,
Also,
do you want to have a punt?
Is it the equator?
Let's have a look. The equator. Well done. I was going to say North Pole, but that's not right. As I seldom are. Elizabeth, what would you like?
Oh, let's finish off science for 1,000.
Science for 1,000. If you're studying menstruation, I have to say that carefully, you're studying this.
Is that the cycles of the moon? What are the cycles of the moon?
It is actually, Danielle, do you want to have a punt or are you happy just to...
I know.
It is measurement. You're studying measurement. All right. Still in control, Elizabeth Gould.
Let's go unique customs for 800.
Unique customs 800. Frenchmen kiss cheeks, but in Romania, male friends often kiss this way.
So a range of intriguing possibilities do spring to
Yes,
mind.
they do.
But do they kiss on the hand?
They kiss on the lips. So I want to get some Romanian friends and some Indian friends together and see what happens. All right, Elizabeth, you're in control.
Wouldn't Danielle be in control? Because I got that one wrong.
No, you maintain control. Whoever had the last right answer in this version.
Oh, that's okay. You can see we don't have Jeopardy in Australia.
I'll probably do it wrong.
No, that's okay.
Both
Let's
of you.
knock it out. Let's find out how someone else kisses and do unique customs for $1,000.
1,000 unique customs. Island country whose indigenous people greet by intimately pressing noses and foreheads together.
I'm going to have to go to well, I know New Zealand press noses, but do they do foreheads as well? So I'm torn. I think it might be Fiji.
Okay. Danielle, any idea?
Did Elizabeth say Fiji?
She did.
Oh,
Bugger.
I don't know.
It is New Zealand. New Zealand.
Yes.
Yes. You're on the right track and you talked yourself out of it, but you're still in
I
control,
know.
Elizabeth.
I didn't do the forehead thing. 800 World War II trivia, please.
800 World War II trivia. This Axis leader. Now, this is World War II terminology, obviously. So the Axis was certain countries had a complete set of dental tools taken everywhere he went. What a weirdo.
Yeah, but they were all weird. So now I'm a little bit torn. But I would say Adolf Hitler.
The big one. It was correct. The one whose name we don't speak of. Still in control, Elizabeth?
Let's finish off World War II trivia, please, Julian.
World War II trivia, over 5,000 of them were pilots in the Soviet Air Force. Of them. That's a bit of a strange way to refer to them. But this was from the 80s, this question. Over 5,000 of this particular, probably minority or something, were pilots in the Soviet Air Force.
Were women in...
Might not be minority. Could be gender.
Oh, I was going to say were women in the Soviet Air Force.
Let's take a look. Women. Oh, well done. I was thinking it was like Siberians or something. All right,
Elizabeth,
still in control.
Let's do North for $600, please.
North for 600. First to sail it, Roald Amundsen found this shortcut, a difficult 3-year trip. There was a very hard part of Africa to travel around, which was a shortcut, but it was pretty treacherous.
Was this the Suez? Where is the Suez Canal?
Ooh,
No.
that's a good idea. I hadn't thought of that. I was thinking of the Cape Horn in Africa. Danielle, anything off the cuff that you could think of? I mean, I'm just making things up. So let's take a look. It is the Northwest Passage. Never heard of it. All right, still in control, Elizabeth.
Oh, I'm not hopeful. Let's try $800 for North.
800 for North. Begun, these are all North words. Begun in 1948, this university's African Studies program was first of its kind in the United States. North something University.
Well, I'm not. I'll go for North Carolina.
North Carolina. Is there any other universities with North in the name, Danielle, that you know of? North Dakota, Northwest. Is there a Northwest?
It doesn't have to be in the northern part. It just has to start
Just
with
got to have
north.
the name.
I'll guess Northwestern, but
Northwestern. Okay, let's take a look. Northwestern is correct. Wow, one of my hints was actually correct. Well done, Danielle. You have wrestled control of Elizabeth. What would you like?
learning a lot of interesting facts tonight. Let's go with North for 1,000.
North for 1,000. This will be a tough one. The founder of this aircraft company also helped form its competitor, Lockheed. North something. Pretty tough. From the 80s as well. It could have been any time before the 80s. Founder of this company. Okay, so we just need to know an aircraft company. Which is the big famous one?
Well, I'm thinking Lockheed Martin when I see Lockheed.
Oh, Martin.
So I'll go with Martin.
Let's take a look. It is something very small, Northrop. Oh, I was sure. Originally, I was going to say Boeing, and then when you said Martin, something went. I thought, you've got it. But none of us have got it. All right, still in control, Danielle.
Let's go with presidential middle names for 200.
Presidential middle names 200. Baines. Who had that middle name?
This
is going to be tough.
Initial would be...
I don't even know.
Eisenhower middle name. Start with
Eisenhower. Hey, that's as good as any guess. Do you want to have a guess, Elizabeth?
Yeah, who was Lyndon Johnson?
Oh, because you've gone LBJ.
Lyndon Johnson. There you go.
Let's take a look. Well done, Elizabeth. Who would have thought you were an expert in American presidential middle names? All right, you're in control, Elizabeth.
Well, I think I might have used up my knowledge, but let's go presidential middle names for 400.
Presidential middle names, Earl. This is impossible, man. Except for the LBJ.
James Earl Joyce.
James Earl Joyce. If you get this, you are going to be Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter. Is he still alive? Still going?
Oh,
No, he must have died, yeah. He did some great stuff when he was really old. All right, continuing on, Elizabeth. Should we do 600?
Oh, yeah, let's go for it.
His actual first name was Hiram, while his middle name was Ulysses.
So, Ulysses Grant?
Let's take a look. Well done, Elizabeth. How did you know that?
It's the only one I knew.
Oh, wow.
I thought he was a general. Oh, well. Oh, let's keep...
Let's smash him out.
Yeah.
800.
Yeah,
Howard.
800.
Who was Howard as a middle name? President.
Oh. No. Blank.
Taft. Oh, Taft.
Oh, yeah.
Like the hairspray. Continuing on, Elizabeth.
Let's do 1,000.
1,000. John. Somebody has to get this one.
It's so common.
Yeah. Oh, let's go for George Washington. I mean, who knew what his middle name was?
Exactly. I know he had wooden teeth, which I mentioned last episode. All right, I'm going to give you a clue. Very, very lucky president.
Give us another clue.
Very lucky. Capiche?
Oh, Ronald Reagan?
Nope. Well, he was lucky too.
About Carter.
It's Donnie, the head.
Really?
Yeah, Donald Trump. John, his brother's name was John as well, I think.
Oh.
And there you go. Oh no, we're still going. All right. Elizabeth, you're in control. I'm going to do this one for you. King whose reign was so rich that silver was said to have been as common as stones in Jerusalem. King from the Bible.
King Herod?
Herod was one of them. There was another one starting with an S.
Oh, Solomon.
Yeah, well,
It's Danielle's turn.
if it's Solomon, I'm going to give it to Danielle. If it's Herod, I'm going to give it to Elizabeth. Solomon, yeah, he was the rich one. Well done, Danielle. How did you get that?
You read my mind.
I did. ESP.
Let's go Bible for 1,000.
Bible for 1,000. Go big or go home. It's the battlefield
Right.
where good and evil will fight their final battle. Where's
What's a
in the what's the end part of the Bible where they have all that sort of hell and serpents and stuff? But I don't.
Yeah.
Revelations. Where is the battlefield going to be? I don't know.
You know, Lade's trying to fight rush hour traffic on the 405, but I don't know how to answer this one.
I'm going to go Earth. Armageddon. Oh, it's an actual place. Who knew that? Last question. He wanted to put his finger into the nail marks in Jesus' palms. What a little sicko.
Oh.
That was a guy called Thomas. Or Didymus. Thomas or Didymus. Well, let's have a round of applause. We're at the end of the game. Fantastic effort. Very tough questions as usual.
That was challenging.
Danielle got a few ones towards the end there. 2,200. Elizabeth Gould, 5,600. Terrific effort. Very hard questions.
Yeah.
All right, let's turn the music off. And we've got a couple of coaches today. So let's talk to Danielle, first of all, being on the left. And you've written a book. Tell us about your book, first of all, I guess.
Sure. So I just published my first book. It's called Prismatic, Step Out of Past Shadows and Into Your Radiant Future. And it's a memoir. It follows three women and their three generations of women and their struggles with generational trauma. And then it transitions into a personal development book. So it offers some powerful frameworks that anyone could use to overcome any challenges in their lives.
And can you share a story behind your book and what inspired you to write it?
I'd love to. So I found myself in my corporate position. So my background, I spent 10 years in pharmaceutical sales, and then I transitioned to VP of sales in nutraceutical manufacturing. And I reached the pinnacle of my career. It's what I worked so hard for. And then I realized at the same time, I lost my mom traumatically and suddenly, and fell into deep depression, was going through burnout, working basically 24 hours a day to support international clients. And the things that mattered most to me, like my family and spending time with my husband, my health, my sanity, were all terrible. So I took a step back to look at my life and figured, if I'm so good at business, how can I apply these same principles to turn my life around? So in my journey, I spent the next year, I invested nearly $100,000 in different personal development courses, business development courses, certifications. And came out, people ask me, why are you following all these wild health routines? Or why are you going to all these seminars? And how are you balancing everything with your job? And when I explained to them that it was helping me get into the best shape of my life, improve my business by 50%, and really turn my life around, then they wanted the blueprint. They wanted to know how I had done it. So I wrote the book, and it also helped me overcome generational trauma. And I'm getting so much beautiful, beautiful feedback from people all around the world and how the book is impacting their lives too.
Yes, sometimes if we don't address things, we kind of are forced to. And one of the things that you talk about is, if you're in a professional environment, how do you maintain resilience and adaptability, when a change happens. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So one of my favorite parts of the book is chapter 14. So I found myself in an unlikely position where I had signed up for some kickboxing classes to get back into shape after having my second child. And there was always this intrigue of the octagon up to my left while I was in these bad classes. And one day I just finally mustered up the courage to get in the ring and give it a try. And I was the only woman. I was definitely 10 years older, at least, than most of the other teammates. And I was practicing for a few weeks, and I just really focused on watching their technique and mirroring it as much as possible. So I wouldn't hold the class back or ask any questions. And a few weeks into my practice, the coach asked me if I was going to sign up for fight night. Didn't know what that is. Said, sure. And then I come to realize I'd actually signing up to fight another person in a real ring.
God.
It was wild and unexpected and a crazy ride. But at the end of everything, I ended up walking into the fight. My training had paid off and I won. But what I learned from that experience is that when you want to accomplish something, you need to step into the person you need to be to face that challenge, to win the fight. Maybe it's you're about to go into the boardroom and you want to win the contract. But in terms of staying resilient and overcoming adversity, just stepping into the person you need to be to win that fight.
Awesome, Danielle. Can I ask, did you get a decision, TKO, or knockout?
Not TKO. I remember coming back at the end of the first round, and I'm in the corner with my coach, and he's telling me, you're doing really good. You're definitely winning, but I need you to hit harder. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you want me to hit harder? He's like, yeah, you need to actually hit her. So I'm actually glad that I didn't knock her out, but I did score enough points to win overall.
Wow, that's amazing. And have you hung up the gloves now that you've tried it? I hope you do. Hang up the gloves.
Yes, hung up the gloves. I'm very happy to just do regular cardio or strength training now, but it was really an incredible experience, and I'm glad I saw it through to the end.
Well, it might come in handy in that LA traffic. You never know.
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome. And what are you doing as far as the coaching? Who do you work with mostly?
Sure. So I have two different branches of my coaching. So my book really does talk a lot about overcoming adversity and moving through generational trauma and overcoming adverse childhood events. So on that side, I do one-on-one coaching with women who are typically in their 35 to 55 year age range. Maybe they're professionals, but they're looking to break through to that next level of excellence, but just needing some help with frameworks to apply to their lives to help them get to where they need to be. And then on a more corporate level, I speak on a lot of entrepreneurial development stages, talk to a lot of business owners and CEOs. And there I offer my fractional leadership services, drawing on my experience as VP of sales. So I work with a lot of healthcare companies, maybe smaller, up to 50 employees that don't have a sales director. They're looking for an interim sales director or aren't quite at the point where they can have a full-time director of sales. That's where I come in. I bring the SOPs, help them train up their salespeople or hire a sales team and help them manage their sales team to increase revenues.
Yeah, awesome. So if anybody, is in that industry where you have salespeople working for you or you are a salesperson, have a chat to Danielle and you can learn what she's doing. I've got all your links in the show notes. Thank you very much for sharing that, Danielle Lopez.
Thank you for having me. This has been amazing.
Wonderful. All right, let's go to the Aussie, Elizabeth Gould. Now, you worked with Randy Zuckerberg, is that right?
Yes, I did. I had a wonderful experience with Randy working as a founding member of her Leadership Institute, where we were coaching entrepreneurs around the world. Randy, formerly being the marketing director for Facebook, is a very skilled entrepreneur since she left and has done many things. But she was an incredible person to work with and to learn from. And she has a very generous nature and a very supportive nature, particularly to female founders. So that was for a 2.5 year period. And it was a really magical time.
Is she Mark Zuckerberg's sister?
Yeah, she's his big sister.
Big sister, right. Yeah. Okay, cool. And what was the training initiative that you did with Randy Zuckerberg?
Well, what we developed was a program. I mean, Randy understands, having been from Facebook very early on, and you don't get successful overnight. in any entrepreneurial venture, and there are a lot of hard times. She really reflected the emotional journey of an entrepreneur. So what we did at Zuckerberg Institute was we obviously were able to provide our students with a lot of information about funding, which is a big one for founders, but also it was very much the emotional journey, which is what I write about in my own books and coach as well, because there's a point where an entrepreneur will feel, actually multiple points, an entrepreneur will lose heart, they'll lose confidence, that will lead them down the wrong path or the path where they give up far more often than a lack of resources. It's rarely a lack of resources that will stop a really valuable contribution. It's that the entrepreneur emotionally just can't get going anymore.
Yeah, the energy levels go either, for me, they're at 500 or they're at, I can't, I need a break, or I don't know what to do, and you don't maintain. And the hard thing is, like you say, is when you have a lull and you're thinking this takes longer than I thought, or whatever, if you're doing a new project. And that's part of it, isn't it? And one of the things I saw you talk about was I call it toxic positivity. You don't focus on positive thinking so much. What do you focus on, and why?
Well, I take a much more neuroscience-based approach. I'm a master certified neuroplastician, and really what that means is that you can adapt your brain according to what you focus on. And what we focus on is actually depends all about emotions. For example, with habits. There was a great study that by the 19th of January, 850 million people have abandoned their New Year's resolutions. And I know exactly why, which is because to form a habit in your brain, you have to have a new neural pathway. You actually have to glue different parts of your brain together to change behavior. And it's been proven scientifically that there's two things that need to happen for a new habit to form. The first is that you have to focus on something long enough for the neurons in your brain, the brain cells, to get excited and start to get together. But secondly, if you don't have strong emotion associated with that new behavior, those neural pathways never form at all. So in my work, when I wrote my third book, Feeling Forwards, I focused very much on, there's a path that's been taken in personal development that thinking will save you. Your brain will save you, and you just have these very logical thoughts and everything will be fine. And actually the opposite is true. Thinking has never saved us. Your brain is not a self-development tool. Your brain is a survival mechanism. And if you've got through yesterday by sitting on the couch and binge watching Netflix and eating junk food, your brain thinks that's a fantastic result. So it's really about harnessing the power of your subconscious mind to change your behavior and increase your performance. And as you pointed out quite rightly, high performance is all about having a sustainable and manageable level of energy, because then if you have a high level of energy, you feel better and you make better decisions.
Very interesting, Elizabeth. And you think about, at one point in your life you couldn't ride a bike and it seemed like an impossible thing, and then even now I'll jump on a bike and it's automatic, and it's because the brain has made the connections. And the other interesting thing you said was you can't force it, you've got to focus on the emotion side of it. Can you just spell that out to a dummy like me a little bit? Like, how do we work on the emotional side of, say, a goal that we want to achieve?
Sure. Years ago, I had a boyfriend who was inspired by New Year's resolutions. And don't get me wrong, I love a shiny new week, a shiny new month, new year. I'm always planning things. But this particular boyfriend, I was with him for a while. And every year on the 1st of January, he had this new running outfit. Didn't run the rest of the year, but on the 1st of January, he was really psyched. And he'd put on his running gear and he'd go for a run. And in Australia, as you know, it's very hot usually on the 1st of January. And he would come back exhausted and he wouldn't run again. And I know exactly why, because while he was running, never a question of willpower, while he was running, his brain was saying to him, this doesn't feel good. Your knees are hurting. You're panting like a dog. You're feeling exhausted.
I'm feeling personally attacked here, Elizabeth. No, continue on.
Why are you doing this? I mean, clearly running from when you've never run before is not a very scientific approach to get fit, but it's getting comfortable with being uncomfortable is the magical part of it. And I go through so many exercises in my book, and there's more on my podcast and my website. But every time you do something new, it doesn't feel good. Whether it's having a salad for the first time, if you're a burger person, or whether you're going for a run for the first time when you're really unfit.
Or hopping in the octagon.
Exactly. Or even answering questions about presidential middle names that felt really uncomfortable. But it's having the tools at your disposal to manage your emotions. So it's like, okay, this isn't the end of the world. Yes, your knees hurt. You're going to be fine. Why don't you walk for a while? And why don't you choose a time tomorrow when it's less hot and try again? And really attaching the emotion to the end result you want, not the discomfort in the present.
Awesome. And we'll just talk about your latest book. Is that the Success Maximizer Method?
No, that's one of my coaching methods. My latest book is Feeling Forward. So I was very grateful that Tony Robbins endorsed that. He's been an incredibly generous mentor and an inspiration. So Feeling Forwards is the subtag is how to become the person who has the life you want. And it's really about harnessing the power of your emotion and a dash of very easy to understand, I promise, quantum science to bring the future into your present.
Fantastic. And how do we get hold of that? That's on your websites, on Amazon and all of those things?
Barnes & Noble. Yes, absolutely.
Wonderful. Fantastic. Well, that was a very interesting and a fun episode. Thanks for our wonderful guests, Danielle Lopez and Elizabeth Gould. I'm going to wrap things up now.
Thank you.
Great to meet you, Danielle.
Have a coffee.
Great to meet you too. Listen